my name is Julia and welcome to my channel, Little Blue Bookworm. Today I will be talking about my top 10 favorite Halloween / spooky / fall books. As I was making this list, I realized I didn't have 10 favorite Halloween books, even though I really enjoy this genre, which surprised me a bit and made me realize that I need to read more. I still compiled a list though, because there were a few on this that I really wanted to share with you guys. Since I realized I did not have 10 books, I decided to put quite a few short stories on this. I'm not really much of a short story reader. Most of these I read in high school or like middle school, but I still really enjoyed them. Okay, as I was editing, I realized there were two things I forgot to put in this video. One of them is a short story that I really enjoyed, that I also read in high school at some point. And one of them is a book series that I have not finished, but I always think of this book series every single time October rolls around. And the first short story is The Lottery by Shirley Jackson. It's about this small town where they hold this lottery. Apparently, I forget how often, it could be every year. During this lottery, when you first go onto the scene, everybody seems kind of tense, and it builds up kind of the suspense until you find out what the lottery is really about. And I kind of saw where it was going, but I enjoyed where it ended, I should say. And it was good enough that it made it into my high school literature book. So there's that. I highly recommend you read it. I didn't find it that disturbing. I think my best friend who loves horror, she didn't say it was super disturbing, but she did say it gave her, I think, a lot of chills. Or she could have just said that it unsettled her a lot. It didn't unsettle me for some reason. And again, I'm a scaredy cat, so I don't know what was going on there. The book series I forgot is Lockwood & Co. by Jonathan Stroud. And I cannot believe I forgot this book because I really enjoy it. I will probably do a review. I have not finished the series. There are 4 books that I know of. There could be 5. I could be wrong. I've read the first 3 over the years. Every single time October rolls around, it always puts me in the mood for Lockwood & Co. It's about a kind of hypothetical situation of what if there were ghosts and specters in everyday life, and what if they were dangerous. And it follows this girl named Lucy, who is an agent, and she goes around fighting these ghosts. And I think one thing that makes it interesting and kind of explains away the fact that she's a child in this sort of dangerous situation is that only children can see ghosts. But ghosts are still dangerous to adults, and adults still know they're there. They just can't really see them, and it freaks them out because they're dangerous and you could potentially die from one. And I thought that was really interesting. I love the world building. There are some things I don't enjoy. I will go more in depth with this in my review. But overall, I love it. It's a great Halloween read. It's not that scary, but it's super interesting and fun. It's a typical kind of young adult novel. I wouldn't say typical, sorry, that was poor word choice. I would say it's more, the plot and everything is really interesting. I had a few spoilers going into it, so I was able to catch on the foreshadowing for some of them, but some of the stuff I didn't know about, I was still able to pick up pretty easily. It might be for a slightly younger audience, but overall, I still really enjoyed it. And when I say slightly younger, I don't mean middle grade. I mean like young adult, high school kind of. And I loved it. I still really love it, and I still highly recommend. It's completely clean as well, which was a huge bonus. I don't think there's any swearing at all. There might be a few minor swears, so don't hold me to that. But overall, I'm pretty sure it's completely clean, and I loved it. It also takes place entirely in England, and they're all British, which I absolutely loved. So there's that added aesthetic and bonus on top of it. The last thing I wanted to talk about isn't a short story or a book, but when I think of Halloween, I always think of this as well. It's a poem, and it's The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe. If you haven't heard of it, what were your English teachers teaching you? It's his most famous poem. It's about this raven that comes upon his house, and the way the raven is croaking sounds like the word nevermore, and this man has this almost soliloquy where he thinks like the raven is talking to him. I don't know if he really thinks that, but as the night wears on, he begins to think that, kind of, and that he's asking the raven all these questions, and of course, since the raven only can caw, and it happens to sound like a word, it's kind of not a very happy conversation, but it's very interesting and very spooky. And also, I think you can find people reading it online on the internet, which is what I watched in school, and I really enjoyed it. I think it's only like 5 minutes, but it's really cool if you find a good one. And yeah, that was it. The first short story on my list is The Yellow Wallpaper by Charlotte Perkins Gilman. This story is about this woman who was going through this treatment for, I think, depression that they had during that time, where they wanted the person to not do anything at all, just like sit there and stare at the wall. And how that affected her. The author also wrote this because I think she was treated with this treatment, and she wrote it to show how and why this treatment does not work and to relay her own experience with it. And it's pretty creepy. I get scared pretty easily by a lot of things. That's why I don't really do horror. I am tougher than I thought I was, though, because I do really enjoy thrillers. Some thrillers, others freak me out. And this was just the right amount of creepy and slightly unsettling for me. Like, it never goes too intense, in my opinion. It is a little unsettling, but I still really enjoyed it. The next short story on this list is The Key by Rachel Hawkins. I actually bought this. I thought this was a full book, but it only was 2 short stories, which was explained why it was really cheap. And I did not really care for the other short story. I really like this one, though. It's about this girl who lives with her mom. Her mom is a psychic / fortune teller, and how she has kind of inherited some of her mom's gift, where she is able to touch something and see a specific point of their past, I think, or like someone. And it starts off with some of her friends from high school coming to visit her mom because they want to know what happened to their friend who recently went missing, and they think she died. You can kind of tell where this one is going, but I still really enjoyed it, and I thought it was a fun time. Don't spend money on it, though, because the entire book is really short and it's kind of a waste of money. But I still enjoyed it, and it felt pretty spooky to me, so that's why it's included on this list. The next short story on my list is The Telltale Heart by Edgar Allan Poe. I read this, I don't think I was even in high school yet. I think I read it in middle school. And the premise is kind of creepy, but again, I'm pretty much a scaredy cat, but I was able to swallow it, and I really enjoyed it as well. It's about this man who killed an old man and hid, I think, his heart under the floorboard, and how people come and visit, and he tries to keep up pretenses like nothing is wrong. It starts off, I think, with the main character saying, "I'm not mad at all." And it ends the same way. And the story kind of shows how he is quite a bit mad. You'll see. It's good, though. I highly recommend you read it. The next book on my list is City of Ghosts by V.E. Schwab. I have not read her other stuff. I think I tried to read one of her other books. Don't remember what it's called. I would have liked that one, except, again, swearing. I never finished it. I saw she came out with a new book last year, I think, and I want to try reading that one. I haven't heard anything about it. I think somebody reviewed it and they liked it. So, City of Ghosts is about this girl who can see ghosts, and she's a photographer, and she tries to take pictures of them. They never really show up on camera. They kind of, I think, show up as like a smudge or something. But she does have like a best friend who is a ghost. This book is middle grade, so it's aimed more for a younger audience. But I enjoyed it, and I feel like you can give it a shot. And I thought it was very interesting. It sounds like there's supposed to be a sequel, but I'm not sure if the author plans to continue the series or if she's dropped it. She travels to this place and she meets another person who can see ghosts, except this person is dedicated to helping them pass on, and how the main character learns to help other ghosts pass on. It was a fun time. I liked the whole photography element. I thought it added something cool. The next few books are all kind of tied for me because I really enjoyed reading all of them. They are also when I think of Halloween books, these are some of the first ones that came to my mind when I was first writing the list for this video. So the first one is a book I read in middle school, and I think it was written very well. It's called The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman, and I really enjoyed reading this. It's about this boy, I think, who's an orphan, and his name is Nobody. He's called Bod for short, Owens, and he gets adopted by a family of ghosts, and how it just shows him living with the ghosts and kind of, I wouldn't say becoming a ghost, but learning how to kind of take on supernatural qualities as a kid, and how he kind of grows up like that. And I thought it was really cool. I still think it is excellently written. Please check it out. I just like there is some magic in it. There's also danger, and I enjoyed all the characters. Like, I liked the main character. I liked his family. I liked the people he met at school, both the good people and the bad people. I like the way he handles the people who are mean to him at school. I thought that was really cool, the way he handled them. I thought the villains in this, the antagonists, they're really shrouded in mystery. From what I can remember, I feel like at the end you don't really know much about them. I remember the specific weapon one of them uses, and I was like, I think it even scared my best friend when she read it. And it's a good weapon, and the way they described it, it's not like, oh man, this is so cool, it's so unique. It's not like that. But I thought the way they described it, it's just one line in there about like the weapon he had and why he chose this, and how it's a seemingly harmless thing, but in his hands it's dangerous and it becomes a weapon. And I thought that was cool. I really enjoyed this book. I highly recommend it. I think there's a sequel. I have not read the sequel. I will eventually, not this year because my October TBR is already really full. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Please read it. Even if you're older, I feel like this is one of the books that you will still love, but I feel like even older people will enjoy it as well. Okay, so the next book on my list is The Wizard of Dark Street, and I read this a long time ago. It is by Shawn Odyssey. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, and it's a mystery. I can't remember what time period it's set in. It feels kind of Victorian. I'm probably getting that time period wrong. I'm really bad with my time periods. I really enjoyed it when I read it, but it's about this girl who her uncle, who is the Wizard of Dark Street, goes missing, and she wants to find him. She is also very magically gifted, and she is very powerful, but she does not enjoy using her powers because the one time she used them a long time ago, something really bad happened. I'm not giving details because I don't want to spoil anything. It's just about how the mystery of how he disappeared, where he went, who was responsible. I honestly do not remember who is responsible, but I remember I really enjoyed it. So yeah, please read it. I will say it does have a sequel, and I read the sequel. Not as good. It's also like the actual book is like this thick. The sequel is like half that, and I I'm not sure if the author really wasn't feeling it anymore or what, but it feels like it ends on like there will be like a third book, but I feel like it wasn't popular enough and got dropped. It's called A Tale Dark and Grim by Adam Gidwitz. And it is very much written for a younger audience. It's like a mashup of all these different fairy tales that are not very well known. The only well-known fairy tale in it, I think, is Hansel and Gretel. All the others I had never read before, I think, or I had, but they're very obscure. And I really, really enjoyed this. It's very much for a younger audience, but I feel like even when you're older reading it, you will enjoy this. There's something that happens where Hansel and Gretel run away, and all of these other fairy tales happen to them. And throughout the course of the book, it's very funny because there are parts that get kind of gory, but to lighten it, the author interjects in like this bold script. And there's this part where he's like, something's about to happen, and then it cuts off, and there's this bold script, and the author is like, "Are you sure there are no young children? Are you sure?" And then like it continues with the story, and right when the thing is about to happen, it stops again. It's like, "You sure no little children are there? Okay." And then it continues, and I didn't do it justice. It's much funnier than that, but I really, really recommend it, and I think you should give it a try. And it's just, I still love it so much that I don't have it because I read it in school. We just used the one she had. I do want to get this though because I just loved it so much, and I will reread it eventually to see if it still really holds up or whether it's just mostly nostalgia talking. But I think it's a great read. It's very clean. It's very funny. I absolutely loved it. Yeah, that pretty much wraps up my Halloween / spooky / fall recommendations list. Let me know what you think. What are your favorite fall / Halloween / spooky books? I will be uploading content every Friday. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!